19 years from now. Magneto thinks to himself as he arrives in the future. A desolate, ruined time. The city he materializes in lies in ruins. Abandoned and broken buildings, busted cars and broken bridges are all that can be seen. Magneto himself looks tired, his clothing is torn, and as he leans against a wheelless car to gather his strength, he realized that this day would come. But his arrival in this time is unintentional. He activated the time platform in an effort to evade his enemies, to flee the terrible things he had done. After all this time, I should have known better. Magneto thinks to himself as he walks down a street, passing dozens of abandoned vehicles. He tells himself that there is no escape. As he walks down an alleyway, he comes to a clearing between buildings. The clearing is full of large metal poles, most of them with skeletal remains hanging from the pole. Magneto observes his surroundings and decides that this future looks little different from his past. I did this, or I will, he remarks as he passes through the horrible sight, staggering past a building. He cannot shake the feeling that he is meant to see this world, this eventuality. He wonders if it is more than a glitch in the time machine's circuitry that sent him here, or if the hand of fate is guiding him. He decides that his presence here does not feel random, and more than he feels that he is alone. He looks up and sees several ghostly spirits hovering over him. Magneto is shocked. It is the ghosts of the Mother Vine mutants. He remembers promising them that he would help them, and then he killed them. What do you want from me? Magneto shouts, raising his arms into the air. Tell me what I can do. To make it right, he asks, clenching his fists. He hangs his head and closes his eyes. There is no one there to answer him, and the ghosts of the Mother Vine mutants vanish. At any rate, the question is rhetorical, because Magneto already knows the answer as he carries on down another broken street, empty save for more abandoned vehicles. I've always known the answer, Magneto thinks to himself, as he comes to a series of partly destroyed buildings, with motionless sentinels scattered around them. Some acts cannot be forgiven, Magneto tells himself, as he walks through the sentinel graveyard. Barefoot, he approaches a school bus that has toppled not quite completely. He thinks that some steps, once taken, cannot be taken back, as he looks through the windows and sees skeletons in the seats. Magneto knows that for some people, redemption is an impossibility, and to think otherwise is willful ignorance. Weakness! Well. Look, mates, what we got here? A voice from the shadows calls out. Magneto turns to see several strange figures approaching him. They appear to be part man, part machine. One of them moves on insect legs, and looking at Magneto, declares that it looks like somebody didn't know this was Reaver territory. Too bad. Now you're ours. Now you ain't nothing but meat and gristle, and blood to oil our gears, the strange Reaver exclaims. Magneto appears unimpressed and tells the creatures to turn around and walk away. Did I hear you right? Are you puffing up? Fronting? You must be one of the crazies! Huh? The Reaver asks, before firing a blast of energy towards Magneto. Magneto blocks the attack, and thinks to himself that the X-Men have a complicated relationship with time. The ghosts of the Mother Vine mutants appear to attack Magneto as well, as Magneto thinks that the X-Men have danced through time and space without care, that they have shattered the laws of reality time and again. The Reavers continue their assault on Magneto, too, as the Master of Magnetism thinks that time, and the X-Men have a bond built on trauma that each inflicts upon the other. The ghosts of the Mother Vine mutants are relentless and don't pull back from Magneto either. As Magneto is unsure as to what lessons time is trying to teach him, but he knows what he can teach these Reavers, as they have forgotten, and he has forgotten who he is. Energy radiates around Magneto as he summons metal scraps and brings them together to form a suit of armor around his body, including a long cape. Time for a reminder, Magneto thinks to himself. No, it can't be! One of the Reavers gasps. Not him. He's dead! Another exclaims. Magneto grits his teeth and reminds himself that he offered the Reavers a chance to flee, and they rejected his mercy. I was foolish to offer clemency in the first place. Magneto decides as he uses his magnetic powers to throw shards of scrap at the Reavers, striking them all down. Magneto frowns and stands over their bodies. Foolish, he remarks, while the ghosts of the Mother Vine mutants hover behind him. You were not yourselves. You were trying to kill me. Magneto reminds the ghosts. He tells them that there was no time to think. He had only one chance to act, which is why he struck them with everything he had. He killed them before they could kill him. Magneto looks at the ghosts of the Mother Vine mutants and explains to them that if he hadn't done that, he would not have survived. And if he hadn't done that, he would not have existed. And if he had died, then this reality would not have existed. He hangs his head as the ghosts of the Mother Vine mutants watch him. Suddenly, is it? Really? You? A voice calls out. It is. Isn't it? Small mutant child with blue skin and a tail reminiscent of Nightcrawler remarks, looking up at Magneto. I saw what you did to those Reavers. You came back. The mutant utters before taking Magneto's hand and telling him to come along, as the others need to know. This way, the young mutant tells Magneto, who walks with the young mutant and remarks. Wait, child, you are mistaken. I am not who you think I am. Magneto is lost for words as they round a corner and he sees a huge statue of himself in clearing. Other mutants nearby see Magneto and calls out to him. You're back? One of them calls out. You promised you'd return! Another exclaims, adding that they didn't dare believe it. You're back! Another mutant remarks as they rush forward and surround him. I can't believe it's true! One of them utters, back to save us! Another exclaims, to lead us, someone else declares. Magneto steps back from the mutants and asks them what this is and what happened here. You don't remember. The young blue-skinned mutant asks. Magneto looks down at the young mutant and admits that he does not, that he looks around and sees all this destruction, and he knows it was his hand that brought it about, but what he doesn't know is why. The young mutant tells Magneto that he did what he had to do, what no one else was willing to do. You saved the mutants. The young mutant reveals. The mutant informs Magneto that when the Reaver virus first appeared there, had been no sign of him for years. Everyone thought he was dead. The Avengers tried to stop the infection from spreading, and the X-Men too. But to kill the virus, the hosts had to die, and there were so many carriers. We thought all was lost. We thought mutants were doomed. Until you returned, the young mutant announces, remembering the return of Magneto, who along with Magic, Anashone, Exodus, Sabretooth, Blob, and Toad took on the Reavers, while Sentinels stood nearby, then announced that they were to destroy with extreme prejudice. The young mutant informs Magneto that the Reavers marked them, made sport of them, and would have exterminated them all if it weren't for him. And his Brotherhood Magic, Anashone, Exodus, Sabretooth, Blob, and Toad. Magneto turns and looks around. So many died here. It looks as though I became the monster so many feared I would, Magneto remarks. The young mutant tells Magneto that he was what their people needed, and that the Reaver virus did not start as some sort of cybernetic contamination. It started as hate, and I know what hate can mutate into, Magneto points out, hanging his head. He has saved us, one of them points out. No, Magneto tells the mutants, not like this. You will not honor my actions as something sacred, Magneto begins, stopping himself as the ghosts of the Mother Vine mutants suddenly appear behind him, and a voice calls out when I send your return. I thought I had to be mistaken. I thought it was some remnant of bad dream. Magneto turns to the sound of the voice, who adds, I thought my fears were somehow playing tricks on me. But now you're here again. Back for more! It's an adult Marvel girl! Who stands, fists clenched with Cyclops, readying an optic blast, Angel, whose wings glow above them, and the Beast, who is in his furry, white, demonic form. And none of them look very happy. You never went back! You never went home! You fools! Magneto shouts as he sees Jean Grey, also known as Marvel Girl, Scott Summers, Warren Worthington, and Henry McCoy standing before him. What are you doing here, Magneto? You can't be here, Jean exclaims. Cyclops tells her that he can, and that she knows what this is. Time travel. The Beast, in his white, furry, horned demonic form, snarls. Magneto tells the time-displaced X-Men that he should have known they would never go back to their time on their own, and remarks that he should have made them. You can't be serious, Angel! With glowing white wings? Snaps! You shouldn't be seeing any of this! Marvel Girl tells Magneto, who is surrounded by several weary mutants of this time. For that matter, neither should you. These stolen moments. The things you have seen. You are not equipped to cope with what you've learned, Magneto points out. Cyclops touches his optic visor and exclaims that he thinks they have proven that they can take care of themselves. Most assuredly, Magneto replies as he moves closer to the X-Men before asking them where Iceman is. Jean hangs her head, and none of the others say anything. Magneto tells the X-Men to look around them and points out that the city is ravaged. You have lost one of your own. And for what? Was the sacrifice worth it? Jean points at Magneto and tells him that it was him who did this, that he ripped the city apart. And you destroyed anything else? You, Jean adds. Interrupted when the young blue-skinned mutant steps between her and Magneto and tells her that she is wrong. That Magneto saved them. Other mutants gather in front of a large statue of Magneto as the young mutant explains that Magneto did what no one else could do, and that they are all alive because of him. You don't know what you're saying. I'm sorry. You don't know anything about him, Cyclops tells the young mutant. You don't know who Magneto really is, Cyclops adds. And you do, Cyclops? Magneto asks, approaching Cyclops. If you've never returned home, you have not seen me as an enemy. In the era you've existed, I was an ally to you. How often were your ideals and mine in opposition? Cyclops' visor glows with optic energy as he frowns and tells Magneto that he can't throw time travel in his face. Not when he is outside of his own time himself. You only know what you have done in your past. You don't know what you're gonna do in your future. As the ghosts of the Mothervine mutants appear behind Magneto, Jean tells him that it was bad. Real bad. And that it all started after they returned from space. After the White Queen and Havoc. After Mothervine. Magneto hanging his head. It hasn't happened for you yet, has it? Angel asks. In your time. Where you're from. It's happening right now, Angel declares. Jean suggested there might be a way to fix this. Maybe a way to set things right. Beast tells Jean that this will not work the way she thinks. The way Magneto would fix things. Beast begins. To which Cyclops adds, this is what turns him into a monster. Leave him alone! The young mutant shouts. He saved us! And Magneto, not the X-Men! This causes Magneto to smile under his new helmet, and he suggests that perhaps it is a monster's protection that mutantkind needs. This isn't about protecting mutants. This is about your own hubris. This is you trying to prove that everything you've done is justified. Cyclops points out. For God's sake, who do you think raised all those damn statues? Cyclops asks, referring to the numerous statues of Magneto throughout the ruined city. You did it! You did it to prove something! To prove you were right, Cyclops points out. Was I? Magneto asks, smirking. Maybe you were. Maybe you weren't. It hardly matters now, the Beast points out. Hank, we can't! Jean begins, to which Magneto interrupts her and asks the X-Men what happened when they stood against him. In this time, all of them hang their heads and fall silent. You killed me, didn't you? Magneto asks. The Beast grits his teeth and explains that time is a strange thing, that the timeline is always correcting itself. They have seen that firsthand. He points out that if they make sure Magneto does not return to his timeline, all of this might change. Beast adds that Magneto being here, it might be their chance to fix things after all. You don't mean to keep me here, Magneto remarks, energy crackling around him. Damn right we do! Cyclops exclaims as he releases an optic blast towards Magneto. Angel fires energy beams from his glowing wings, while Jean launches a telekinetic assault as well, and the Beast runs towards Magneto, who has thrown a force field up around himself. Magneto reminds the X-Men that he created the time platform to send them home, and reveals that he can use that same device to move through time and space. You can't possibly stop me. No one can stop me now, Magneto boasts. Don't count on it, Beast declares, as he conjures a spell, and Marvel Girl tells Magneto that she is sorry about this. Sorry it has come to this again. With tremendous psychic force, she then breaks through Magneto's force field. Magneto is surprised and tells the blue-skinned mutant child to get clear. Let me deal with these fools, Magneto remarks as he summons scrap metal to surround him. Magneto forms the scrap metal into an enormous statue of himself and slams it down towards Jean, Beast and Cyclops. Knocking them backwards! We've beaten you before! Magneto, we've beaten you when you were stronger! Angel calls out from nearby as he fires an energy blast at Magneto. Beast leaps out from under the large statue and tells Magneto that if he ever wanted to prove Scott's point about his overinflated ego, then he has picked an excellent means of doing so. Cyclops fires an optic blast towards Magneto, striking his helmet, while Beast creates another spell that starts to eat away at the large statue. He's weakened. Whatever he's been through in his time, it's left him vulnerable, Beast exclaims. Don't let up now! We can. The Beast begins, before the young blue-skinned mutant slams a crowbar over the back of his head, and the Beast falls over, unconscious. I told you to let him be, the young mutant declares. The child touches the M branded across their face and suggests to the X-Men that they might have forgotten what their X means. But my M still means something to me. The young mutant tells Magneto, who looks at the portable time platform and tells him that without him, they are all dead. Don't forget that. Don't forget us. The mutant calls out as Marvel Girl starts to rise. We need Magneto! The young mutant exclaims. Jean turns to Magneto and tells him that she should have known he would never change. I shouldn't have let you walk out of that scrapyard. Then you asked me to work with you. When you let me read your mind, I should have killed you. Marvel Girl snaps through gritted teeth. But you didn't. Magneto replies, narrowing his eyes. He then disappears thanks to the capabilities of the time platform, leaving Marvel Girl, Cyclops, Beast, and Angel standing amongst the rubble of their future. The present. This then is goodbye. I appreciate everything you've done. But we must now part ways. Magneto, inside the Blackbird jet, remarks as he puts on a trench coat. Danger appears as a holographic projection and tells Magneto that, for what it is worth, she respects him for what he is doing, for everything he is casting aside. I admire you, and I pity you, Danger adds. Magneto suggests that it is likely Charles programmed Danger to feel compassion and pity, and that is why she is no longer of use to him. Watch after the X-Men, Danger, Magneto asks as he flies out of the Blackbird. I feel they will need you in the days to come. Shortly, Magneto walks through the offices and labs of a tech firm, where a scientist with large glasses calls him Mr. Eisenhart and tells him that when Miss Raleigh reached out about his visit, he was taken aback. We're just getting started here. I didn't think anyone was aware of my work, he adds. Magneto addresses the scientist as Mr. Jansen and tells him that he is glad he agreed to meet with him. Please, call me Kirk, the scientist smiles. Magneto tells Kirk that he sees the potential of what his work might yield in the future, and adds that there has, of course, been significant work done in the field of robotics. Don't I know it? Kirk agrees, adding that this isn't just about robotics. They stop and look at a robotic arm, and Kirk explains that what they are working on, converting emotional states into electronic impulses, it is about much more than next-level robotics. I'm not sure we can even call it artificial intelligence, Kirk remarks. Artificial intelligence, coupled with emotions, real emotions. We're talking about creating life. I'm sure you would think so. Magneto tells Kirk, asking him if these creations of his would be able to experience all the emotions of a living being. Love, sadness, fear, hope, and hate. Kirk looks puzzled and admits that he doesn't quite follow. Why would we ever want a machine to experience hate? He inquires. Magneto tells Kirk that in his experience, hate is a part of life, and informs him that he has seen firsthand what his experiments will yield. It's likely you've never even heard of the Reavers. You couldn't conceive the horrors you're going to birth, Magneto warns Kirk, telling him that he must be ready for unintended consequences. After all, this is his brainchild. It was? Yes, but now, we're all part of it. Everyone on the team has brought something new to the project, he adds. Of course, Magneto acknowledges, before he surrounds himself in a magnetic force field and releases a surge of energy, one that ripples through the laboratory and offices, causing them to explode. From the scrap of the building, Magneto then creates a large statue of himself. He smiles. They'll know. They'll know it was me. They'll know I have returned, and they'll despair, Magneto declares. He looks down at the motionless body of Kirk Jansen and wonders if they will avoid the mistakes that he made. And that in that way, their despair might be their salvation. Later, aboard new asteroid M, which hovers in orbit around Earth, Magneto strides down a corridor wearing his red and purple costume. He thinks that it has come to this. This is the future Mothervine has wrought. He passes many new mutants that have emerged from Mothervine and walks towards an altar where a large throne sits. He thinks to himself that these mutants need guidance and decides that he will not use time travel to accomplish his goals, as the dangers are too great. Sitting on the throne, Magneto admits to himself that he is an old man, and the old ways he finds work best. To me, my brotherhood! Magneto calls out, and they come to his side. Toad! Exodus! Carmella, Elixir, Marrow, Briar. We have much work to do, Magneto announces.